Welcome to day 2 of the 25th Annual Caribbean Multinational Business Conference. This is CMBC 25 2020. The dual pandemics, the global impact on people of color, coronavirus pandemic, racial reckoning pandemic. This is a virtual experience of connections. We have an amazing group of speakers for you today, just as we did yesterday. And we're opening with Women of Power and Influence, the impact during the time of crisis. Today, our Women of Power and Influence are Dr. Debra Y. Fraser-Howze, Dr. Hazel N. Dukes, Mrs. Carolyn Young, and we are expecting Senator Andrea Stewart Cousins. So hopefully she would be able to join us along with Ms. Colleen Payne. But in the meantime, let's meet them. Dr. Hazel N. Dukes is president of the NAACP New York State Conference and a member of the NAACP National Board of Directors. She's a member of the NAACP Executive Committee, as well as an active member of various NAACP board subcommittees. Dr. Dukes is a woman of great strength and courage. Her dedication to human rights and equality is exemplified by her role linking business, government, and social causes. She is president of the Hazel N. Dukes and Associates consultant firm, specializing in the areas of public policy, health, and diversity, and has many organizational affiliations, including as a former trustee of the State University of New York and Stillman College, and she is a member of the National Council of Negro Women, Inc., and National Black Leadership Commission on AIDS, Inc. An active and dynamic leader who is known for her unselfish and devoted track record for improving the quality of life in New York and in New York State. We welcome Dr. Hazel N. Dukes. And what I'm going to do is read the bios of my ladies with me, and then we'll open the floor and start this discussion, because let me tell you, there's discussion going on already. Because all these powerful women, of course, know each other. So we're in for a wonderful time. Now, joining us again, Ms. Debra Y. Fraser-Howze. She has been widely honored and recognized for more than 3 decades of global leadership to communities of color regarding teenage pregnancy, social welfare, and HIV and AIDS. Her signature work led to the establishment of the Minority HIV/AIDS Fund, formerly known as the Minority AIDS Initiative Fund, which since its establishment has directed nearly $1 billion in funding to support those communities that are disproportionately impacted by HIV. Ms. Fraser-Howze's public service includes advising 2 US presidents while serving on the Presidential Advisory Council on HIV/AIDS from 1995 to 2001. Today, Ms. Fraser-Howze is the principal of D. Fraser Associates, LLC, a private consulting firm advising corporate clients seeking to develop business in new markets, that these benefit the public health of communities. Prior to founding D. Fraser Associates in 2019, Ms. Fraser-Howze was the Senior Vice President, Government and External Affairs at OraSure Technologies, a global leader in the development, manufacturing, and distribution of oral fluid diagnostic and collection devices and other technologies designed to detect or diagnose critical medical conditions, playing a critical role in launching several tests for major diseases such as HIV/AIDS and Ebola. Prior to joining OraSure, Ms. Fraser-Howze served as the president, CEO of the National Black Leadership Commission on AIDS, NBLCA, an organization she founded in 1987 that conducts policy, research, and advocacy on HIV and AIDS to ensure effective participation of its leadership in all policy and resource allocation decisions at the national, state, and local levels of communities of African descent nationwide. NBLCA is now the largest HIV and AIDS nonprofit organization of its kind in America. We welcome Ms. Debra Y. Fraser-Howze.
Thank you.
And now, our civic leader, Carolyn Young, born in Atlanta, GA, which is interesting because she's a true Atlanta person, received her BS degree in sociology and elementary education from Atlanta's Clarke College in 1966, and her master's degree in elementary education from Georgia State University in 1971. Now, upon graduating from Georgia State, she became a teacher at East Lake Elementary School in Atlanta, where she helped to desegregate the faculty. She taught kindergarten through 7th grade, but primarily focused her attention on 5th grade students. She went on to teach at East Rivers Elementary School, where she also served as a Sunday school superintendent at Union Baptist Church. She married U.S. Ambassador Andrew Young in Cape Town, South Africa in 1996 and retired from teaching. She worked as the protocol contact for foreign dignitaries at GoodWorks International, a transnational business management consulting firm founded by her husband in 1996. There, she coordinated logistics, travel, and events around the world. Carolyn Young served as vice chair of the Andrew J. Young Foundation and as the executive director of Andrew Young Presents, the Young Foundation's Emmy Award-winning, nationally syndicated documentary series highlighting Africa, the civil rights movement, and other social issues. She has received many honors for her dedication to elementary school teaching, including the Atlanta Area 2 Teacher of the Year Award, the Southern Bell Black History Calendar Teacher of Excellence Award, and the Georgia Teachers Incentive Award for intermediate grades. She has also served on the board of directors for numerous organizations, including the United Negro College Fund and the Andrew and Walter Young YMCA Atlanta area. We welcome Ms. Carolyn Young. Ladies, it is my pleasure to be here with you. And I am going to open the floor because for me, it's food, just listening to you talk, listening to your relationships and just being able to appreciate what you have already accomplished, listening to your affiliations and understanding what those affiliations mean. We would love to hear from you exactly what is your take in your fields on the impact during this time of crisis.
First of all, let me just say congratulations to my friend Carl and his wife for 25 years. I have been with them, I believe, at least 22 of the 25 years. And this is like a reunion to me to be with Debra and Carolyn. And of course, Andrew's cousin when she come. Because of our work, we are sisters, we are bonded. In this work is not glamorous. We are advocates. We fight every day and every minute of our life, providing for our communities that need so much. And as you heard us talking earlier on our schedule for today, yesterday was a day of really heart-wrenching here in Harlem, where I am. We got the zip codes of where we have an uptake in the virus. And we know in this area, We lost so many, as Carol was saying, so many friends, family members, extended family members from COVID-19. Yet, during the time, C. Virginia Fields, Brian Benjamin, and Inez Dickens, we called in at the beginning, believe it or not, with the death rate of Black and brown people, we did not have testing in our communities. So we went to the governor of the state of New York, who we know personally, and we said, look, we got to open up. We can't have people going to the hospitals. We can't have people making appointments. We need walk-ins. We need drive-in. And so our religious institution, Abyssinia Baptist Church, was the first church to open its doors. And then we went to Mother Zion, and then we went to Mount Nebo, who had lost 11 members out of their congregation. And so we did begin, and that's why we had a down spiral with it. And now, because people got relaxed, 6 months and 7 months in the house, people were tired of wearing masks, not seeing their family members, not going to church. Some churches have had service, others have not. And so yesterday, we met for 2 hours to make sure in our community again that we have the tracing and the testing again, because we should not lose the people that we lost in the beginning. We did know the leader of the free world, I don't know his name, neither his number anymore, but he lied to us. And so we were behind the 8 ball, but we don't intend to lose the amount of people that we did before. And so every waking hour, as I said, I chair Community Board 10 Health Committee. And so health chairs, our borough president yesterday had all community board health chairs. And so today, for my sorority, I will be presenting on this same subject matter that I'm doing here with us this morning. But this is a reunion for us. It's good to see all of you, Carol and Debra, and we have all been together with the Rodneys, doing our global with Congresswoman Yvette Clarke and Kevin Parker and Greg Meeks. It's a family gathering. And when we gather, we put our heads together. And what happened in New York, that means that we have to take care of our family in Jamaica. What happened in Jamaica, we have to take care of our family in St. Martin's. So we are in this because we are family. We care about our communities, and we're here to serve them. And so during this time, I have doubled my energy to make sure that everything that we need to protect our families, that we're going to get it in Harlem, as well as they do on the East Side and the Upper West Side.
Thank you, Dr. Dukes. And before you continue, I would just like to welcome Ms. Colleen Payne to the room.
Oh, hello.
Yes, and then we'll continue. So let me just say a little bit. Colleen J. Payne, founder and CEO of NCI Diagnostics Center. As a matter of fact, she received an unexpected invitation to attend a White House Women's Entrepreneurship Conference in DC. So I guess you'd be able to find out from her about the the leader of the free world, whose name we don't remember, but she's an entrepreneur, author, and professional speaker, and has received many awards over the years and was named the 2007 Oklahoma Small Business Person of the Year for her work as founder and CEO of NCI Diagnostic Center, which provides state-of-the-art diagnostics and treatments in Tulsa, of all places. Okay, she's a former nuclear technologist, and she came up with the idea of putting a nuclear medicine department on wheels. So she started the mobile cardiac imaging in 1998 and later rebranded it as MCI Diagnostic, with the goal of using a van to bring cardiac healthcare to rural communities. Today, her business continues to operate its mobile diagnostic services division and has a full service diagnostic clinic. And I know when she's here, she's going to tell us more. So we welcome Ms. Colleen Payne. Thank you so much for joining us. Join the party.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me today.
So as we're continuing with a response to Dr. Dukes.
Well, I would certainly like to say something. Hazel is my mentor. So she has been my mentor for a very, very, very long time. So now you see where I get my grit from. You see, I get my energy and my chutzpah from Hazel. She's also a founding member of the National Black Leadership Commission on AIDS, which is now the National Black Leadership Commission on Health, which is run by another woman of influence, C. Virginia Fields. So we've been together, and we were together long before that when I was at the Urban League doing teenage pregnancy. You know, one thing that I know that women of influence do is take care of each other. They take care of the people coming up behind them and back of them. They let people stand on their shoulders. They give us knowledge that we could not get anywhere else, and knowledge that we can trust. So you know, my daughter is now the president of the United Way of New York City, first African-American woman to do so in 85 years. And I give my child to Hazel Dukes. So you know, she takes care of my baby. So that's how committed and connected we all are. And you know, Miss Young and her legendary work and her husband's legendary work is unprecedented. And Colleen, we are so happy to have you, because any woman who could think about medicine on a stick that you could take out to the community in a mobile and help save lives is ingenious. And we need to do all we can to support you as well. When a young woman, I am now in seminary, so I have learned a lot in studying the Bible, and I get very contemplative in my studies. So I was 68 years old on November 7th, last Saturday, and I'm in the place of my life now where I don't give a damn about people who don't like me, who do like me. It doesn't make any difference. At this age, it's all up in the air, and it's just fine with me. But what I do care about, and at this age, what I am allowed to do is make my own decisions, decide who I want to work with, who I want to help, and where I want to be. And my decision is with my people, because of people like Hazel, because of people like Carolyn, who taught me that that's where you're supposed to be. So I had a young woman call me up and tell me that, you know, she said, Miss Debra, I feel like I'm drowning in Katrina. I've got the president of the United States screaming at us, saying that we're from asshole countries, calling out Black men SOBs, you know, talking about their mamas, and there's all this death around us. And I don't see the leadership. There's nobody helping us. And I told her that the leadership is out there and they're doing what they need to do, but we're drowning in this. And you can't always hear our voices, but believe that we're always there. But it made me realize, in the same way that I created the National Black Leadership Commission on AIDS, because of the AIDS crisis, we were dying and there was very little bit of help in the 1987. So I decided to create another program that now focuses on COVID-19, and we are raising money for 50 churches across the East. Atlanta, Miss Young is one of the cities. Detroit, Washington, Newark, New Jersey. We're going to have 50 churches doing testing, contact tracing, and providing prayer services for people who are isolated. People are isolated and people are committing suicide. This is a evil, demonic virus. And it's causing us to have all kind of mental health issues and health issues if we do get rid of the virus, we still have residual impact from it that impacts our health. Some of these people that are getting this virus will never be themselves again. And they're our people, and we have to be responsible for them, and we have to take care of them. So, when I was thinking about today and what could we say, as women of influence, I know that we're all very, very flattered that you call us that, but we didn't start out there. So what we probably need to say to you younger people is that you will be us in several years. Yes. And you have to work so that you can be a woman of influence. And the way you do that is serve your people. If Dr. Payne can figure out how to put something that she studied for much of her life in a van and take it out to the communities, you can figure out from where you sit right now, what gift did God give you that you can take and use right now while the people are in this Katrina moment to help the people do what they have to do. And that's basically my message to young people, to take what I've learned from Hazel Dukes, takes what I've learned from Andrew Young and his wife, and take what we're learning today from Colleen Payne, and understand that we all have a responsibility. And I'll close with this. One of my other mentors, Harriet Michelle, said to me once, that you have to always focus on your community, because one day when we all get to heaven, when we get to the pearly gates, and when you're African American, they're going to ask you one question and one question alone. And that question is, what did you do with your freedom? Amen. And you want to be able to answer that. So thank you, Janice. Thank you for having us here.
Amen. And what you just finished saying, I believe echoed in all of our spirits. And when you just said that you speak to young people and say, you will be us in the future. Just last week, I started facilitating a course with a high school here in New York called Social Justice Activation. Oh. And it's about getting them to find their leadership skills within. And I shared it's within each of you. Because you, though you're sitting in high school now, are the next ones on stage, okay? Absolutely. So it's up to you to course correct where this world is going. So, and they're paying attention. We may think they're not paying attention, but when you heard some of their concerns, from the pink tax, all the way up to police brutality and discrimination. When you hear, including healthcare and education accessibility for the other abled and so forth. It's amazing. People think that children aren't listening.
They're listening.
They are.
Yeah, they are.
Okay. Mrs. Young?
Yes, thank you. And I'm just so interested, and I'm honored to be here with such illustrious women. And I need to go back to Evelyn Gibson Lowry. She took me under her tutelage, just like she did. In fact, I'm friends with her daughters. And at the time, she had developed what we call the SCLC Women. And the SCLC Women had a great, great platform. And I, at that time, was a pretty good new teacher, where I integrated 3 Atlanta public schools. And she started, we're talking about the pandemic now, but she started with AIDS. And she brought to the forefront, she developed a program where on the first Sunday And I think it's a national, I know it's a national program now, but she brought it to Atlanta. Well, on the first Sunday in December would be National AIDS Day because the preachers did not want to touch it. They felt as if it was a stigma and it might associate them with something that wasn't natural, which is, they didn't understand the disease. And she came and we worked, and she took young, and just as you have just said, she had young women who came and we took them on tours, and we talked to them once a month, and had women with AIDS to come up and try to guide them not to get in. It's not something that was, at that time, they didn't have medicine for us. We were getting AIDS, our babies were getting AIDS. And we developed that, we worked on that program for 20 years and developed it, and it just almost disappeared within our age. And we went to different schools, and we told the kids we wanted them to be agents of change. And we wanted them to reflect what the other students could see in them. And we also told them, I was reading, I don't know if any of you are familiar with Dr. Jim H. Smith. He's an archon. He's a member of the Kappa Boule. And he said, and this is something that my mother often said, two things she didn't want to do was to bury her child, in which she did bury my brother. And she did not want to not know what to say to her children. And so I would like to just quote something he wrote, if you don't mind. And he said, "It is not the burden of the brutalized to bring comfort to the perpetrators promoting it, or the bystanders that allow it. Their only burden is to seize the opportunity for forgiveness and reconciliation when it manifests." And I read my Bible, and I read my meditation, and I just feel like, first of all, we have to have a sense of forgiveness. Right now, I'm in a place where I can't talk about the man that's right now, but I do ask God, because he forgives us, and I want God to forgive me. But I know he's sick, he has a problem, but we have to move on beyond that. We have things to do. If we keep focusing on Trump, my husband said, don't ever mention your opponent's name. Just go ahead and say what you're going to do. We have to focus, we have to go forward. And we have a governor now that's sick, and he won't be a governor anymore because after these 2 years, because we are blue and we're going to take it over, and we have taken it over. So I just feel like we need to start right now with younger people, because as I shared with you about the child's mother who died, didn't tell her mother she had tested positive. She was 34 years old, came home, gave it to her mother and her aunt, and killed her mother without her mother knowing it. So we have to let them know they have a responsibility, and you have to start from the cradle.
Yes.
I taught kindergarten, and whatever I taught the kindergarten, I carried on through the 7th grade. And it was difficult because I was in a situation where the cafeteria people were white, the principal was white, everybody in the school was white. We had 1% Black and 7 new Black teachers who had scored real high on the national teachers exam. And we came in, one of the teachers who was an Olympic medal winner had to leave. She said, "I can't take it. It's too hard." I said, "You cannot help not to take it." And that's where we are now. We got to do what we got to do. We have to say, but we have to love the hell out of these people. We can't turn just hating people. You can't do that, because I look, like you say, when you go to the pearly gates, he's gonna say, "What? Who did you feed the hungry? Did you clothe the naked? Did you set at liberty those who are oppressed? Did you visit me in prison?" If you didn't do those things, I might not make it over. So I'm trying to get there. My husband is there. I told him, he said, I won't be afraid. Only way I don't want to get the coronavirus is I don't want to give it to you, and I don't want to give it to my children. But he said, if I go, I'll be okay. He has that faith, and he has given me that faith. So what we're going to have to do, we're going to have to teach our children. I was just looking at the list of kids, murders and everything, but we do have to live by example, because they don't hear what we say, they see what we do.
That's right.
That's the word right there.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's the word right there.
Mhm.
So I
Okay.
try to live my life so that I can be an example. Because one day a little girl told me, "Say I want to be like you when I grow up." I was 22 years old. I said I got a great responsibility
Yes.
because I got to show them.
Oh my God, I need my fan. You all are making me tear up here because all I could just say right now is thank you, God, for you women, for your example. And thank you, God, for me hearing some of me in you.
Mhm.
Okay? So, with that said, Ms. Colleen Payne, the floor is yours.
You know, that's a hard floor to follow after so many amazing women on this call and such women of influence. So I'm relatively new to this group, but my life work has been saving us and caring
Yes.
for us. And you're right, you have to be able to stand in the middle of the door to let us in and support us before we can get to this level of our life. So I thank you. My journey is over the last 23 years, I've owned one of the largest outpatient centers in the country, yielding from the state of Oklahoma, where we are definitely a red state. And some of the things that I have done in the state of Oklahoma as an African American woman has been sometimes most impressive to others, that we would build one of the largest medical facilities and still be in the red state. But we yield from Oklahoma, and we have a lab now in Texas. And so one of the things that we have been doing is that I own one of the largest laboratories in the country. We are the only laboratory in the state that is in the country that is service disabled, veteran owned, hub zone, and we're the only laboratory on the ground serving us as in the pandemic. I have gone through two pandemics. I am a nuclear medicine technologist. So when I first got out of college, HIV was our pandemic. And I was on the front of that because I did a test back then that was a gallium scan that every HIV person in the country had to go through and have done. So I went through that. I saw it on and lived through that experience. And so now to be at the forefront of with having the only African American laboratory in the country to save us, for us, and by, I have seen so much in this space of COVID. When this first started in March, we hold one of the largest contracts in the country, which is the Department of Labor, that we cover all of the lives of the kids and the students and the staff at the Department of Labor Job Corps. It's 138 locations. So we were given the task in December to get a solution for COVID just in case it became a pandemic. As a laboratory, just getting my footing with this new contract, we had to do that. I will tell you, I thought, I'm not going to do that because it's going to be so challenging, so much expense. I was on my way to Dallas to our lab, and someone called me. And in 5 minutes on the highway, I changed my whole career to say, you know what, I need to save us, because I realized we're always the last to be saved.
Yes.
Spent the last 3 hours on that journey to Dallas with me and my husband, calling every vendor that I could to get equipment. So by the time I made it to Dallas, I had 7 machines coming in off of a boat from China. Within hours and days, I would lose the equipment. I'd get it back, I'd lose it, I'd get it back, I'd lose it, because the government was commandeering all of the equipment they could humanly possibly give. Finally, gentlemen, and I have no bones with saying this, from quite Cajun. They called me and they said, you know what, Miss Payne, as he got to be friendly, see, and when it comes to business, I'm not friendly with you. I'm going to listen to you, but it is a business because I'm African American. So this gentleman said to me, he said, you know, he let his cards down and he told me, he said, we're not giving any equipment to any entrepreneurs to save the country. And I thought to myself, wow, then who will save us? But I have a very strategic partner, Abbott Laboratories. And Abbott Laboratories, I called because on this journey, I was losing equipment, getting equipment, and we weren't able to come and do that. Abbott said, we don't see that within you. We've been on this fight with you and we will continue on this fight with you. We're not only giving you one piece of equipment to save, but we're giving you two state-of-the-art equipment. Those two pieces of equipment allowed us to be on the task force for Dr. Briggs. So it was two Abbott M2000s. And the moment that we got equipment, we became one of the only laboratories out there supporting African Americans, going to our communities, trying to help us. I have been deployed for almost 10 months. I've seen some things that I would never wish that anyone would see in COVID, in this particular pandemic. I've seen some technology that has been most subserved. So, you know what? I figured out on all of the deployments, I don't have to go. But see, but because I'm on this call, I am a woman of that influence and I am nosy for our community and I'm going to save our community. So I deployed. I've been on the ground since March of 2000, at the beginning of this pandemic. And we still today are one of the only African-American laboratories in the country that are able to save us for us. And so we started this whole movement of going out. And we were in Atlanta for months. I went out for like 2 weeks, 2 days, and I stayed there almost 30 days because the need was so great at most of the minority churches. We've done Dallas, we've done Maryland, of course we're doing Oklahoma, we've done Texas, California, Florida. But I recognize that we need to rally this nation because the churches aren't coming to our rescue either. I have talked to so many ministers, and you know, I have said that I can't save a nation by myself, and we need people like the women on this phone. We need the clergymen to get in, but so many clergymen are in the way of saving the congregation.
Yeah.
So, to say the least, I have been disappointed on that journey. I have spent millions of dollars deploying to areas that we couldn't get in. LabCorp and Quest, the government gave us $2 billion to do testing. And what LabCorp and Quest, with all the mistakes that they made at the beginning of this, they would send 50,000 tests to Atlanta, 50,000 to all of the heavily minority areas. But the test kits would just sit because they were afraid for our communities and test us. They were afraid to do the same drive-through locations that they were doing in other communities. And so I have begged, I have asked, and then I just decided that my motto, save us, for us, and by us. We still are the only laboratory in the country from an African-American perspective that's saving us. And I try 100% to get as much word out. I've seen so much in terms of the numbers and how we're protected and where we're being tested at. You know, it is a pandemic. I've been on the ground since day one, and we 100% need to know that in this last season of COVID, this is the most critical because we were not be here at this moment. I am not a proponent of shutting this nation down for COVID. Because let me tell you, I've been on the ground and what I've seen, I do not ever suggest that we shut this nation down. Because you look at the government is now clothing us, they're feeding us, they're telling us where to live, they're educating our children, and they're housing us. And we have lost over 50,000 African-American businesses since COVID has been down. This country, 2021, should have been minority. Our president stopped part of that. If we shut our nation down, the only person that loses is a people of color. The government is closing us, they're housing us, they're feeding, They're giving us free food. When last did we see that, ladies? And people on this call, we saw this in the 60s. We, for the first time, African Americans and people of color had progressed. And now this pandemic, whether man-made or other, has set us back, and we are not allowed to shut this country down again, because who's most hurt? We are dying. The mask is the vaccination. Hand washing is the immunity. So distance is what we have to do. But I have seen too much to say we shut this country down again, because the only people that are hurt, you cannot feed us, you cannot clothe us, you cannot no longer tell us how to educate our children. And the government is doing all of that to African Americans. We've lost too much in this season. We have to be educated. We have to mask up. We have to do social distance, and we have to wash our hands, because the young people need to hear this. For the young folks on this call, understand it is not you that we are so concerned with at this moment. It is the people that you love. It is the grandma. It is the big mama that you mask up and you wash your hands to protect the people that you love. But we do not allow the country to shut down again.
No.
Because, I've listened to so many stories, but I've seen so much on the ground. This is the worst that in my life, seen. AIDS had nothing on this.
That right.
So we have become one of the largest laboratories in the nation supporting COVID. We have talked to many, and I think that we have to be able to save us, buy us, and labs for us. Because if we don't save us, nobody's coming to our rescue. And we're getting ready to go into one of the worst times of this whole pandemic. Because see, we weren't supposed to be here in December. This was, remember, they told us that this was just a disease that would last, and when it got so hot, it would go away. But see, we're back into the flu, and we're back into COVID. At the colder this gets, we're not going to know which is which. We need testing. We need testing now. We need testing to every community. So our lab has the ability to test almost 50,000 tests a day. But see, I can't reach everybody for the nation by myself. No. We need people, and we need you all, and we need people listening. We need deployments in our communities, because if we don't do it, they're not going to do it. No. So I say, we need a rally. We need help. And we need to save us, because the big labs are not coming. And no matter how many governors I talk to, they've never deployed for our community. The only people that can save us is us. And the clergymen that's sitting in that house, I have no love for what I've seen in this season for them to, and I'm always honest. The churches have the ability, it is the biggest source of us coming together at one place. It's rare occasion that those churches are coming to deployment. FEMA gives out free COVID tests every day. Any government official can get free testing. They have warehouses full. I know so much, but see, we gotta be able to do something with all the information that I know, being one of the only laboratories that's on the ground. Right. In the White House.
Yes.
Let me just piggyback in here about the clergy.
Go ahead.
I heard Miss Young talk about it. That's what Debra Fraser did. Listen, we had people dying on the organ, and they were lying that they had pneumonia. And the late Y.T. Walker, Debra Fraser got him to be the chair of our Black Commission on AIDS. And let me tell you, Sister Payne, I am on it. I got in the governor's behind, and our churches, Abbey Senior Baptist Church, Mother Zion Church, Mount Nebo, I don't know who you can get, but I tell you, here in New York, we have no problem getting in their face. I am a Christian, love the Lord, but love my people more. And if there would be any minister in New York City or in New York State that wouldn't open our doors to help us with this, I would be in there behind, calling them out.
That's right.
Andy Young, Basil Patterson, and myself is on the National Democratic Committee. We are not afraid. Those guys put something in me. I am not afraid. Now, I don't know about what area you're in, but I would think Marjorie Henderson, health is one of the NAACP's strategic plan. We need to come together just like we did the Divine Nine. We stopped being AKAs and Deltas to work for Vice Chair elect Harris. We need to come together. The Divine Nine, these are Black women, intelligent. So I need to know how to get in contact with you, Sister Payne, and we're going to get it done.
That's right.
We're going to see that you be recognized, that you come into our communities all across this country. You don't come, but we got boots on the ground, and we, damn it, get out here and get it done.
That's right, Hazel. And I ditto that, Colleen. We are going to get it done. All you have to do is send out the clarion call. We got ministers that will come into the community and make the other ministers do what it is they need to do. We did it with AIDS, we'll do it with this. Don't worry, we'll get it done.
Ladies,
and we got young minister. We got Reverend Otis Moss III. Okay, his daddy has endowed him. He's been on the prayer list with us, prayer meetings with us. Abyssinia Baptist Church had prayer all Tuesday from 7 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock. I closed out that last prayer on Tuesday, November the 3rd. We got some ministers, honey. We got some ministers. Kevin Butts know the National Baptist. We are telling him how disgraceful. Okay, I tired. I can raise my voice.
Oh, yes,
thank you for sharing it with us. We didn't know. And so this is, now it's time for us to help you do the work to save our community. No, nobody's going to save us but us.
Ourselves.
For us, by us, and by us, because
that's right.
You know, I thank you for this because I have been on the ground. I
thank you, honey. I thank the Rodneys for bringing you. I've heard about you, but I never heard you speak.
I begged the minister.
I am so glad that this is happening because it's almost, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you, but I am just so excited because this is networking.
This is what this is supposed to do.
This is what it's supposed to be.
Yes, where everybody is meeting each other so that the work can get done. You're not alone.
No, she's not.
Things, but you're not alone.
You're not alone.
I'm so happy. And when I heard you mention the churches, I'm going, oh my God, wait, but Debra Fraser, that's what she's doing. Oh, they need to talk to each other. So
that's right.
Absolutely.
Auntie Hazel, I'm glad you jumped in. I'm taking you as an auntie now. So you're
that's just wonderful. And we're gonna work with you, Sister Payne, me and Hazel, and everybody on this call. We're gonna work with you. We're gonna I know that sometimes you in the valley and you going through it and you trying to get it done, and it looks like things are just coming up against you, but help is on the way. And we just have to let our faith be bigger than our fear, and nothing will stop us. But we coming, baby. Don't worry about a thing, because we love you and we need to hold you up because you're the example of what we're supposed to be doing. Thank you. Thank you for your work. Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service.
That's right.
I have a question. Are you working on a vaccine? Please say yes.
Well, we're going to be working with the companies who are working on the vaccine, because one of the things that we know is that as they start looking at for one, the vaccine's got to be safe. So we gonna have to get.
You see my hands like this?
Yeah,
that's right.
And I'm asking you.
The vaccine is safe, because we're not just going to tell our people to take a vaccine that may not be safe.
Exactly.
So a lot of us have to be involved in these studies to know.
Wow. Right.
vaccine
Yes.
is safe for us to do this. And then the second thing is that we've got to bring the vaccine companies into the community, because something like what Colleen is doing, she's testing people, she needs to be funded to do that.
Yes.
People need to put the resources back in the community.
Yes. And to
They
the
want us to
community.
take this vaccine. They want us to develop some level of immunity. If the vaccine is real and it's safe and it will help us, then we'll all be advocating for people, our community, to take it, because we can't keep dying like this. We can't keep dying from every pandemic. We can't continue to be the most vulnerable. We're
Right.
12% of the population. You know,
Right.
we've got this going on, and then we got white supremacists trying to kill us on the other side of the street. It can't continue to happen.
Right.
So, but we need to get all of these companies, she talked about the diagnostic companies, all of these companies need to come back into the community, and we need to tell them what we need. This is what we want. We don't want you to just give us a letter saying, we're so sorry because of George Floyd. We don't need you to be sorry. We need you to do something. We need you to
about it.
put
That's
something
right.
back, because we've been giving these companies everything we have, our blood, our money, our everything.
Our
And we've
bodies.
got nothing back. So it's give back time.
Go
And
ahead.
Black women that are going to get together and make that demand. That's what has to happen.
Miss Colleen, you're about to say something?
But one of the things that we want to be very, very careful with the vaccination, just seeing so much, there's been 43,000 people that have been tested. How exactly they've not produced any documentation, and we've looked for how you were tested. Did you actually infect someone to cure them? But the other thing is, early on, they didn't have enough African American participants in the study.
Right.
So
trials, right.
Is a little bit different. So, but in actuality, none of us, I mean, I might get the vaccination. I might, because I'm in healthcare. The vaccination technically will not get to the masses until late June.
Right.
So we have, so if the vaccination is going to be out next month, we're going to test the healthcare professionals that will allow it. But see, it's going to be a lot of empty vaccinations that's going to be left over, because I would not be one of those people in that line. I will not. Because first, you were asking us to show up, to be tested, to be that study, that guinea pig. We didn't show up. So how exactly is the vaccination going to support us? You have not provided the documentation that said how this vaccination works. I've read, I've looked. So did we inject you with the virus and it healed you? Oh, or did we just give it to you and we put you in a room naked and saw if you would get it? Tell us, give us the documentation, because ladies, I have been on the ground. I've seen a lot of the technology that has come out, and a lot of the technology that came out, I would not use. I validate, revalidate, and ensure that the technology is going to match the results.
That has to happen.
Has to.
That
Right.
has to happen.
Right. So what are we seeing, and who are we vaccinating? So there's a lot of things that we still need to be very conscious of. 43,000 people have been vaccinated and cured. Well, how do you get cured unless you have vaccination? So study. We need the study. We need to
Yes,
see.
we need to study, and we need to know, you're right, how the vaccination affects people of color. We need to understand what kind of antibodies are being developed in response to the vaccination, how long the immunity, if there is immunity, lasts within communities of color. There are a number of questions that we have to, and we have the National Medical Association. We have a number of organizations where we have Black medical professionals that need to help us figure this out. And it's time for us to call on them to have a sit down, real look at this.
We can't take the,
before we do advocate for any vaccine.
And of course, knowing that there is the mistrust in the first place of anything that comes out, how would we actually get transparent or authentic information? Any ideas, suggestions about
So-
that?
So one of the things that being in a lot of the communities that we've been on the ground for, we've been deployed for over 10 months in various places, Maryland, DC, Atlanta, Texas. You know, the one thing that when someone of color shows up in their life, there is such a large distrust. But the one thing that we can say when we show up at an African-American church or we're there, they pretty much know if we look like them,
Right.
we're standing in the line supporting them. And I can stand up and say, I am the African-American lab. I do harm. We can breathe. We can take a sigh of relief and say, okay, I believe that they're not putting something in my nasal.
Right.
I believe that I'm going to get my results. That has been the most trustworthy thing that I've seen.
Yes.
When
Right.
I've stood in those lines and said, Grandma, this is my lab. You look just like me, and there is no harm to come to you.
Right.
Nobody else can really say that. So we do need our medical professionals to stand up and say, where is the data coming from? What are the grounds that we tested 43,000 people on, and how many people of color was in this participation? Because early on, it was a national movement to get us. And I don't sell African-American blood. So we've had companies that call now, the world wouldn't know this, but when you take in samples of DNA, people can sell our DNA without us knowing that. For sale.
Oh,
So
yeah.
did you sell our DNA? Because see, when I report to the health departments, because I can say whatever I need to say in this form, because see, I am self-made. I have to report your age. I have to report now we didn't have to report race early on, did we not?
Right.
When
Right.
the health department I have to report to, I got to tell them how old you are. I got to tell them if you're male, female. I got to tell them your race. I got to tell them what of town you live in. See, these are all environmental factors. Now, I'm not selling DNA. And people have asked me to do that. No, I'm not selling because most of my clients are African American. I'm not selling no DNA. So if you want our DNA, you let us stand and you help us help you. But we have to show up and understand that we are not a trusting soul. So you tell us how we do this. But at the moment that we're going to talk about that vaccination, you give us the information that we need so we can make educated and informed decisions. And this, for ladies, we have not had that.
Yes.
So
you're
help.
right. Yeah, we have
need
not
to
had.
And we're coming into the worst season of us all. We're coming into the winter. We were not supposed to be here again. We got to help, and we got to do it because nobody is coming to our rescue.
Right.
Right. Right. And also to answer your question, Janice, I do believe that the clergy should be playing a part in this, a big part.
Right.
They should.
Because people trust what they hear and feel and understand
It's
coming out of the
I
church.
was- I
And
was-
they have to step in the breach on this one.
Yeah,
And
they do.
which is why I'm trying to organize the clergy and the churches all around the country, because it is time for them to, our people can't feel like they're in Katrina and like there's no help.
Mhm.
It's time for them to come.
You know, Deborah, as you say that, I was making notes of things to do going forward, coming out of this discussion. And one of the things I noted was churches are a major component in the distribution of information and
Yes.
deployment of
Yes.
these tests. So I know that you have already begun your program with getting the churches together.
Yes.
So again, that's one of the reasons I said, yes, Miss
Yeah.
Colleen, you're in the right place and
Right.
talking to the right persons here, you know. I know also that schools, Miss Carolyn, are also a place and a source
Right.
where information has to get through to young people
Mhm.
so that they can learn and understand their importance and what they're doing relative to aiding or helping to cease the spread of this disease.
Mhm.
So That's number 3. That's the second point.
That's the second point.
Important component, right? Major component, the medical profession getting together. All our faces need to come together, our people that are in medicine, so that we can go as a group to our people, because we remember Tuskegee. We remember.
Yes.
We have been the guinea pig. And yes, social media, AI, everything is being designed and groomed so that we are taken advantage of without us even knowing, right? So now is really a time for those of us who have the know-all, the know-it-all, to come and step up to the plate so that we can save us for us. And you have Auntie Hazel. You mind if I call you Auntie Hazel?
Absolutely. They call me Mama Dukes.
Yeah.
Okay, Mama Dukes.
Mama Dukes.
Okay, Mama Dukes.
Right.
And we have Mama Dukes here, who is, together with Mrs. Young, they are a powerhouse.
Yes.
Well,
They are the
I think the sorority showed in this last election the kind of money that was raised from the Black community,
yes.
kind of people pulling off their St. John clothes.
That's
and
right.
out in the field working. We can do it for this. And so I am just so overwhelmed with Sister Payne. I know about her, but I had never met her and heard her. And I am just full. And I tell you, when I leave this call, I will be going to my Delta meeting here, the New York alumni. I will most certainly be talking to those women today about what we need to do.
Yeah.
And I know my national president, Dr. Beverly Smith.
Yeah.
I know her personally. I'm not just a dues paying member. I participate. So I'm going to get in her ear. I know the people on the Social Action Committee. I know the chair and co-chair. So they're going to be hearing from me. I got a loud mouth.
Amen.
I have no fear.
Right.
I want to say this too. Let's get these senators in.
Yes.
You know, a lot happens from the laws. Now, Biden is a great man.
Yes.
Kamala is just great. But we got to have
the Senate. So the bills, yes. So the legislation,
senators,
yes.
Right. When you're talking to these ministers and we're talking to these deltas, because I've been talking to them and saying, we got to get out and have some boots on the ground.
That's right. Debra and I raised Fraser-Howze and myself. We are part of one growing. He was here with us 10 years at Abyssinia. So we know him personally, know where he's coming from and know what he's about. But I think with Debra, calling out those Black medical people, Sister Payne, if you could give me an email address. I don't need to have you hung up on no telephone because you got too much work to do. But I am going to see before the end of next week that you and I have some communication here.
Right.
I believe if we got out and we changed an election,
yes,
and we can save us. But
we can. I know we can.
We got to get to the media. We got to have a voice. And I'm one person trying to be on the ground and be spit. I can't. I need to
do it all.
I need to.
Well, let me tell you something. Our good friend Carl and Faye Rodney, they are members of the Black news media. We know Eleanor Tatum here. We know Ben Chavis. Ben Chavis was with the NAACP for a while. He respects me. I will be reaching out to all these people. I just need you. I just need you to give me one sheeter, just one sheet. I don't want a whole lot of stuff. You just give me what I need to.
I got You tell me what you need and I got it, because you know
Well,
what?
you know what I need. I
Yeah.
need to tell the story that you just told me.
That's right. We
I ain't
all
got-
do. We all need it.
I live in fear of no one. So I've been on, and I can tell this story, and I can.
That's right. But we got to help you tell it, and we got to have the right
And we-
information. So you give me, I'm going to give you my email. You give me your email, and I'm going to tell you what I want you to send me, that I will be on the right track, saying the right thing.
Thing, right.
Yes,
Oh,
we're gonna use this group, and
Yes.
we're gonna get everybody together. And
Yes.
we all
Right.
gonna work, because Hazel is a powerhouse on her own by
Oh,
herself.
yes.
So,
Right, right.
So we're going to do this together.
yes,
We
we're
gonna
gonna.
do
That's
this
right.
together.
We're gonna do this. We
Yeah.
have
We
to do this.
just didn't get up this morning and take a shower.
Yeah.
Get on our clothes to just serenade each other.
Right, right.
We came here to save. We came
That's
here
right.
to impart our knowledge
That's right.
and then go out and then do something about
Do
it.
something about it.
Right.
Joe Larry used to say, we marched too long, we died too young, we bled too profusely to turn back now.
To turn
That's right.
back now.
Exactly.
So we
Turn-
got to
turn
get it
around.
going. We got to get it going. I know he told me
Good,
that
I'm
when I was
talking.
23 years old, I was working with Miss Larry, and I quote that all the time. I think it's so profound. We did die
Yes.
too young,
Too
And
much.
this is the time.
marched too long.
This
Yes.
is the time for us
Where
to do.
me in the
And-
country. I
and
live as well, and I can be on any plane and be any place, because
All
this
right.
All right. That's what we need. That's what we
Okay,
need.
ladies. So we have a couple of, well, we have a statement, we have a question. First, I'll give you the question because it relates directly to what we're saying now. They both do, but first the question. How can the average woman, or how can average women without influence help mobilize the community to get tested and take action? Can we partner or ambassador with Ms. Payne or other organizations?
You just let me tell you where you start at. You start at home. Start in your block. Start in your apartment.
Mhm.
Get this information that we've given you today, and we're going to give you. Be an ambassador
Ambassador
where
for
you
your
are.
area. Mhm.
Every person that is listening to us today, you are an ambassador now. You have information you didn't have before. You met women that you didn't know before. So now you take this information that we've given to you today, and you become an ambassador on your block, in your building, at your church, at your school. That's how you become a woman of influence.
That's exactly right.
I was in my church when my pastor said to me, I want you to be the membership coordinator for our church in the NAACP. What my duty was to get everybody in my church enrolled as a member of the NAACP. We was closing down a one-house school. This is not in Mississippi. This is not in Alabama. This was in Manhasset, New York. A potbelly stove. The ministers in Great Neck, Manhasset, Port Washington, Roslyn got together. They're all deceased now. But we just did a film. There's a film. You go on YouTube, you'll see me. Look for Hazel Dukes, of what we did in that community, a Jewish community. I sued to live in that community. Roslyn, Long Island, Jewish town. You become an ambassador where you are.
Right.
That's how you get started. As Debra said, we didn't get here where we are today by doing nothing.
Mhm.
We got here because we worked.
That's right.
I worked for the economic development. I was appointed by Jimmy Carter. I served as Jimmy Carter co-chair campaign in New York, the Peanut Gallery. They asked
Mhm.
people, they found people who had been born in the South. Somebody
Mhm.
told him about me. Leo Roberts, she's deceased now,
Yes.
who became head of DC 37, one of the largest union in the city of New York, didn't have a degree when she became that. She got it later. So you start off by working in your community,
Mhm.
in your church, in your whatever, in the PTA.
Mhm.
Take
Right.
what you learned from us today, and each step of the way, you find another sister that you provided to. My aunt,
Mhm.
who's deceased, she worked with Debra Fraser.
Yeah.
My aunt was the best bookkeeper, never got a degree in accounting.
The best.
The best. The city of New York used her
Mm-hmm.
to fund people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's God-given talent that we have,
That's right.
Right.
that we have to develop it.
Mhm.
All of us, all of you sitting in the audience today have talent,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
you got to thank God for the one you got and use it.
And you,
Don't be like the other people who never went back to say, thank you, Lord.
Yes.
yes, Lord.
Thank you.
That's
And
right.
as we're wrapping up, I have to add bloom where you're planted.
Yes.
Yes.
Bloom where you're planted. So, and of course, stay tuned to Carib News and other Black publications to see how things progress, what organizations are about. Just stay focused and you be the ambassador where you are.
Yes.
Our next comment says churches have taken a stance on various social issues. The population is divided on the issues, LGBT, abortion, etc. In taking this position, do churches speak for anyone except their membership? Have they lost credibility to speak outside their buildings?
I absolutely don't believe that they've lost their credibility to
No,
speak
they have
in
not.
their building.
Mhm.
The churches for decades have been feeding the hungry, clothing the naked, and doing everything that they're supposed to do. You have some traditional Black churches that are helping churches that have been very focused on the LGBT community and
Right.
helping them to survive and thrive. So the whole that whole notion, you know, there comes a time when we start listening to other people tell us what's going on in our own house.
Right.
We don't have time for that. We
Right.
don't have
Oh,
time to lose another brother or another sister.
sisters,
We,
that's right.
as the people who've been oppressed, cannot oppress. We're not confused. We don't have time to be homophobic. We don't have time to do none of that. We are 12% of the population. We need all of us on board, walking in
On
the
the same page.
Amen.
and everybody's loving everybody, whether you same gender loving, whether you man, wife loving,
Right.
whatever it is you're doing.
Whatever
We
you
need to be able to walk in that one direction. And there's too many churches out here that are embracing of everyone. And if you find a church that's not embracing of you, let it go.
Hello.
Yes.
Don't be a part of that
Yes.
church, because there's too many churches out here that are embracing.
I
Right.
agree. Ladies, oh my God, this has been amazing. We can continue, but I have to wrap us up. So I give you last words. Who should I begin with?
I want to say something, because I've got to get off right now and try to
Right.
do my other panel. We're doing a panel on COVID in a little while, but I want to say this because I think that Hazel was touching on something that certainly touched my heart. I had 2 children before I was 17 years old.
Mm,
I could have been a statistic,
right.
but I had a community that understood that it takes a village to raise a child. And nobody gave up on me. My parents didn't give up on me. My
Right.
Jamaican mother, my Charleston, South Carolinian father, my community, the woman down the block, the man who owned the grocery store, the Hazel Dukes of the world, nobody
Mhm.
gave up on me. and we can't give up on
Up on-
each other. I
Right.
now have one daughter who's graduated from Columbia Law. I have several degrees. I grew up to know nothing else but to service my people in my community. I've advised 2 sitting presidents of the United States, and I'm here, and I'm still standing on the shoulders of the Hazel Dukes of the world. So I want you to know that wherever you are, whatever your circumstance, if you don't let your fear overpower your faith, you can be and do anything you want to be and do. And we need you in the struggle. So stay healthy, stay alive. We want you to eat right. We want you to do what Colleen said, wash your hands, keep your distance, wear your mask, don't kill grandma. And if you don't need to go there on Thanksgiving, don't go. And tell your sisters and brothers don't go either. And let's try to get through this together, because wherever you are, bloom where you are, because you're going to be all right. Don't let anybody tell you that you're not going to be all right, because I'm here to tell you that you are, and these other women of influence is here to tell you that you're going to be just fine. Thank you so much.
I would like to close out by saying, bigger than fears, as you just mentioned, is your faith. And I think that young people, you look at some people in certain positions, they didn't get that way easy. As the young lady just said, I was raised by a young mother and grandmother, and just 2 years ago, I knew my mother was married to my father, but he never came back after the army. And she was 3 months pregnant with me. I never saw him. My grandmama cut up all the pictures of him and everything. And, you know, I've spoken at a lot of things, and people say, well, you could sit there because you married to Andrew Young. I wasn't born married to Andrew Young.
That's
I
right.
was raised by an 18-year-old mother who put our house where God was, and grandmother. I saw a picture of my father, and it broke my heart 5 minutes before my mama died. She was in hospice on the bed, and the little mentee that came with me, we were in hospice with her that morning. And the man said, she has 30 minutes and she'll be gone. So the little girl just kept looking. We could never find him. We was looking, and she said, here's your father. And I put it to my mama's face. She had not said a word in 3 or 4 days, just rubbed my hand. And I said, is this my father? And her eyes opened. And I had never seen a picture of him. And all my life, when I was a debutante, sub-deb, queen, everything, graduated from high school, college, whatever, I looked for him in the audience to say, because they said, you look just like your father. But my grandmama hated him so much because he didn't come back. She cut up all the pictures and everything. So I want you to know, it's not where you come from or who you come from, it's where you're going. And you have to get involved. And you might not even have a mother. I was fortunate to have a mother and a grandmother. But my life has not been no crystal stone. You know, so I want young people to know that. They look at you where you are now. You didn't get that easy. It was hard. So I just want to say that fix your eyes on Jesus and make sure that you take out fear and put in faith. And that's what I was taught.
Thank you, Mrs. Carolyn Young.
Amen, 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 amen. God has spoken. So let the church say amen.
Amen. Last words, Ms. Payne?
Very simple, elegantly put, bloom where you are is the best that you can ever understand of where you're going. Because we always look at that question now, if I could tell my 16-year-old self something, what would that be? Bloom where you are.
Thank you. And a closing word, Dr. Hazel Dukes.
This has been energizing, reviving, and make me know that I must run on because 99 and a half won't do.
That's
Mm.
right.
Mm.
No, no.
Mm.
For the audience that has been listening to us, we need you. Colleen Payne,
Need
African-American woman who is standing in the gap. God has placed her to be the Harriet Tubman, the sojourner truth of our time. Don't let her come to save us
Mm.
and we run away.
Right.
Let's follow her. Let's get on the side of her and behind her and be the shield of support. I promise you, as long as I have breath in my body, that I love the African American communities from Antigua to Brooklyn to Harlem to Long Island. And as long as God give me breath, I will speak out. I will work out for this great race of people that I'm proud to be of. Thank you very much.
Amen. Thank you all for what has been an emotional, informative, mind-opening, awareness building discussion. Ladies, we can't say thank you enough. We know we have work to do. Let the work continue. No more talk. We have to stand together for us so that we can save us.
Yes.
I thank Ms. Debra Fraser-Howze, Mrs. Carolyn Young, Ms. Colleen Payne, and Dr. Hazel Dukes. Thank you for being here with us. You are indeed women of great power and influence, and you have indeed shared with us about the impact of this crisis that we're in, but you've also shared with us what we need to do to win this situation. So for that, we thank you very much. Have a wonderful day, and we shall continue. Look out for the emails. We have the emails.